All right. Carrie, can you do the roll call, please?
Mr. Steinberg,
Here.
Mrs. Rorich,
Here.
Mr. White,
Here.
Mr. Lewis,
Here.
Mayor Whittington.
Here. All right, so we'll open up for public comments on anything that's not on the agenda. We have three gentlemen here. I think they're already all on the agenda. So, all right. We'll look for, it looks like we need to add something to the agenda under new business, number 5. A resolution for the clean water and drinking water. After we add that, I'd look for a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
Second.
All right. Next, how about, let's, the approval look for a motion for approval of the last meeting minutes.
Motion.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, consent agenda. I'd look for a motion for consent agenda.
Motion.
Anthony, you're the dude this time.
Should I second too?
Nick's second, all right. Anybody want to pull anything out from the agenda, consent agenda? All right, we'll move on. No public hearings tonight. Then we're for our first presentation, Mitch Kleiss with the Eagle Lake Expos. Welcome back, Nick. Or Mitch.
Thank you,
You're
Mr. Mayor,
Nick.
Council. Good evening. Mitch Kleiss, Mayor on behalf of the Eagle Lake Expos. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to do this, Jennifer. I think it's important, our ongoing joint effort with the club, just to go over a quick 2024 recap and then outlook for our 2025 season. Our major upgrades last year, the sprinkler system was the big one. That was an idea that was floating around for 2 or 3 years, and to see it finally come to fruition was pretty fantastic. Huge help, obviously, with the agreement with the city to cover the water, and then actually Eagle Lake Fire Department was a major contributor to our sponsorship in making that happen. As you recall, it went live late May, and then God turned on his sprinkler system for all of June, so we didn't really get to use it a whole lot for the beginning of the summer, but it was it's definitely made a big help at the end of the summer for sure in just keeping things green, even when we would go, days, weeks without rain. Last fall, we also regraded and resodded the infield, which I think will be a huge help this year and into the future. And also the irrigation system helps maintain that sod as well. Also last fall installed a travel lane under the part of that regrading project from first base to the equipment shed that's right outside the first base dugout. That's just going to help with minimizing the rutting and the disbursement of ag lime from the field drag and such. So big help there. Aesthetically, we painted the foul pole, small thing but big for folks that just classic look of a ballpark. PA equipment, which has been helpful as far as pre-game, post-game, but also announcements during the game, just makes things seem more professional. It's also a requirement now with the new league we're in, which I'll get into. And then the sponsorship banners. We had 18 sponsorships banners in total. Pro Graphics, Sports Picks were the biggest helpers there as far as getting banners drafted, and Beth also helping me, giving me pointers on how to install them correctly too was a help. So it's just a great look. Actually, throughout the season, we had some local businesses reach out to me asking about getting their own banner. So it's I think 16 of those banners were all Eagle Lake businesses. So it's good advertisement, and it just shows that it's a community effort, So proposed 2025 upgrades. Big ones this year. I'm hoping to get the funding for a new set of bleachers. I think that will be a big help. That seemed like every home game we had down there, that was a comment. I wish we had a larger, more updated set of bleachers right behind home plate. So I did obtain a quote for those, and that is probably the big ticket item I'm working to get enough funding for. The other one is fence capping. You can picture it. It's just the yellow fence capping around on the outfield fence. Small aesthetic thing, but also it is a safety deal. I mean, it's an upgrade safety-wise. That fence, walking around the outfield fence, it's been there a while. There's certain spots where the fencing is starting to come away from the top rail, and we can only police that area so much. There are kids that climb that fence throughout the year, and so just having that capping, I think, would be, one, looks better, but two, improves the safety. In the fall, next year after this season, we're hopeful to kind of readdress the grading in the outfield. Now, I'm not talking about regrading the entire outfield. That'd be a major engineered construction project, but there are a couple low spots, one in left field and one in right field, where it seems the water does pool, which was really exaggerated last June. So just hoping to address some of the major issues, spots there in the outfield. Future upgrades for discussion, not in a 1-year, 3-year, 5-year outlook, but it's the thought of having lights down at that ballpark someday. It's another one that gets brought up yearly by multiple people. So I think it would have to be a situation where comparable to like Wells fell into a spot this summer where I think Albert Lee or a school in the surrounding area there was upgrading their lights, getting rid of their old lights, so they had all of the hardware and working usable lights, and they sold them at a very high discount to Wells. And so it's basically, you have all the lights and the hardware, you have to find a service provider for poles and then also the hooking things up. And I think a situation like that coming to light is probably the most realistic way for us to get lights. And I just know someday I'm gonna be here and we're gonna have a plan forward, and it's gonna come through here. And I don't know if that's ever been talked about, brought up. Obviously would have some sign off from the neighbors as well, and certain conditions, but it would sure make a big difference, not just for the Expos, but to Maba and Mankato East as well. So someday. Just general notes. There's a surge in community support in 2024. It was awesome. I bet we had 50 to 75 attendees at every home game, and those are folks that come down that don't even have a player on the team. It's just the amount of Eagle Lake Expos gear that you get to see around town. It's pretty it's a great feeling. Tater Days weekend, I bet we had 200 people there both Saturday and Sunday. That's a big weekend for us. It's been nice to get involved with Tater Days and Summer Sounds and National Night Out last fall, and we look forward to continuing to giving back and helping out in those capacities as well. Big one for us as a team, just more of an FYI for everybody else, there were some major changes with the Minnesota Baseball Association. That's the governing body over all town teams. We jumped from Class C to Class B, which prompted us to switch leagues, because in the league we were in up until this year, we were the only team that got bumped up a class. So all that means for us is there'll be some new teams that get to come and enjoy our ballpark this year. All of the teams in our league, St. Clair's in our league, but it's been now switched from being teams in the 1360 corridor to teams that are a little further north. St. Peter, LeSueur, Belle Plaine, Jordan, and Gaylord are the other teams that are in our league. So they'll all play a game at Eagle Lake this summer. So just a couple requests at the end. The park is referred to as the People's Stadium on our social media and now formally the state website. something that started out as kind of a, not a joke, but, just playful in our statuses on social media, and it's really caught on. The amount of people that come up and say, well, see you at the People's Stadium this weekend is shocking. I guess I'm requesting permission to potentially add signage reflecting that name somewhere. I don't have a firm plan in place yet, but it's just nice to be able to get the sign off. And then also, for Andrew specifically, our concession stand owner-operator has requested permission if we can put a small chest freezer in the control room of the new pavilion, just to help store concession stand items for the duration of the season. So don't have to make any decisions here today. I know this is just a presentation, but that covered the major highlights on my end, so. Any question for me, or is this just a talk time?
Oh, well, does anybody have any questions for Mitch while he's here? I just think the partnership that we've had over the past couple of years, you guys have been doing a great job with that park. It's looking really great, from the end of the year and just this year, I think, the upgrades you're talking about. Lights would be interesting.
Lights would be interesting. Again,
but,
it's still just a thought at this point, but, that is the hope.
Well, so,
How much do lights usually cost, you think?
In talking to Wells, like that situation I described where they got them at a high discount, I think they were, all in all, with the poles and all the rewiring, they were about 20 to 25 grand in, which is, I would guess, exponentially cheaper than if you were in the market for brand new everything.
all right.
I think this all sounds great, reasonable, all that. I say, my thing would be is to bring this to the park board next week too, and kind of get their feelings specifically to more of the stadium name,
Yeah, exactly.
and
Yep.
run things by them, and then also the lights, like if the community says, or us, council or park board says no to the lights, then no need to keep going, but if we have blessings for it, then it's like, yeah, you have our support, our backing, you can keep looking into it, or hope that gem falls and, lights come available, right?
Well, I think it's something that, you start to plan for, right? You start
Yep.
to save up for. I would believe that the park board would certainly, think about that, and, whether that's $1,000 a year, whatever it is, to set aside for lights. It's a cool park. I've been around a lot of parks in my day, and it has a cool setting, and lights really would. Again, like Mitch said, it's not just the Expos. A lot of baseball teams use it, and playing under the lights as a baseball player is really cool. So
Yeah, and I just think from a MABA perspective, the benefit to the city would be if we had lights out there, that would reserve.
Bring more games to the city.
Yeah, I mean, they could use that as a part of our Legion and Junior Legion and 14-year-old travel tournaments, bringing teams from all over to Eagle Lake that wouldn't probably be coming through otherwise.
All right. Thanks, Mitch. Yeah, no, this is great.
No, thank you all very much. I appreciate it.
All right, presentation 2. All right, we got a stand-in.
Yes, Vern could not be here. So Spencer Colas, Captain, Eagle Lake Fire Department. So we wanted to come before you guys tonight and discuss the sale of 4324, which for those of you that don't know is our old pumper that was replaced 4 years ago, I think. 4 or 5 years ago. So truck was built in the 90s. So currently it basically takes up a lot of space in that south bay, which I think most of you are aware that it's pretty tight in there. So we really don't use it for calls. Periodically we will take it out as a blocker on Highway 14 if we have enough people, or potential grass fires. But the biggest thing is, try and conserve some space and plan for some future purchases of potentially other vehicles that would go into that bay. The other thing, I know the last couple of years we have stuck quite a bit of money into it, maintenance-wise and repair-wise, and it's like, hey, if we're not using it, it probably doesn't make sense to continue to do that. When we did get the new truck 4311, that truck was listed on Brindley Mountain I believe at that time the council decided on 50,000 was the list price or asking price for that. We had zero interest, zero bites in it whatsoever. So I guess we'd like to pursue putting that onto min bid, which I think Andrew has had some luck with that. So that's what our presentation was about tonight. So any questions?
What would you be putting it on min bid for?
Can you set a minimum for that? I guess.
Keep in mind, we have, I think, always done better than our minimum, so it's something to keep in mind when you said.
I know if you look at comparable trucks that are out there, I would say minimum wise, probably in that $10,000 mark. I would think it should bring something like that. And I think, for a truck, that vintage, that would be fair. To us as the city, but then also that gives, a department that's more in need of a truck like that the chance to buy one. Thank you.
All right, so our first action on new business, so let's have a little discussion around putting this up for bid. Anybody got any concerns about, I think mid-bid makes more sense, the other one, kind of languished there for a long, long time on the last piece of equipment. So $10,000 in as the mid or
I
minimum?
think we just
Yeah?
leave it up to them,
Yep,
and, they know more about it than
yep,
us.
perfect,
Yeah, I think it's, if you're not using it, let's get rid of it.
perfect. I would look for a motion to, let the fire department move forward with, putting it on mid-bid for whatever they need, the minimum should be.
I'll make that motion to, have them place it on min bid for what they feel is appropriate as a minimum bid.
I second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any more discussions? All right. Moving on. New business, cash 27 pedestrian. Is that you, Jennifer?
Thanks, you
Thanks,
guys.
guys.
I know it's not my place to ask, but is it okay if I ask the person attendants if they had, were you here for a specific item by chance?
It was kind of like a question about a meeting previous.
Oh, okay, we had a couple different utility bill questions or matters, and I was like, well, if it was one of yours, I wanted to let you know we already approved it, but, okay, sorry. All right. Let's see, so, number 2, yep, CASA 27 pedestrian connectivity. Let me get to that page. Okay. Included with the packet, there is a scope and fee letter from Bolton and Mink for the CASA 27 pedestrian connectivity project. The city of Eagle Lake was awarded federal transportation alternatives funding for your federal fiscal year 2026. The project must be competitively bid and authorized before the end of June of 2026. So the next critical step in the process is to complete a topographic survey so that we can meet the federal timeline and complete the preliminary and final design needed, which would identify any environmental impacts and right-of-way needs. This would not be reimbursable with the federal funds or possibly through if we could get a local grant, that may possibly be reimbursable, but most likely it's just gonna be a cost that the city would have to absorb. So the cost to complete a topographic survey is approximately $20,000. And at this time, we would just need a motion to approve that proposal and keep the process moving.
And I'll second.
First and second. Any more discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Yep, I'll turn it over to you, Andrew.
Yeah, so, I don't know
if many of you have been down to the park, you see we've been doing a lot of tree trimming and cutting and trying to just clean it up a bit. We'd like to purchase a grapple attachment that hooks onto our existing payloader bucket. So it's just the grab arms basically. This way we can kind of use our resources a little better. We've been, instead of chipping all the brush, we've been burning it up at the compost pile. So we can haul with the dump trucks and everything else if we have a grapple bucket for the payloader. In our capital outlay expenditure, like for the next item, we have extra funds for the toolcat. So we're hoping to kind of use those funds to get this attachment to kind of make our job easier in the long term.
Anyone have any questions about the grappling?
I don't have a question regarding the grapple per se, more of a comment and then question on what you guys have done so far looks amazing. Great job on that. I know you guys rented the chipper. Can you remind me, did we have a chipper in the works to be purchasing, or are you guys gonna continue renting that as needed?
So that was a drum mulcher, completely different. We were, in our capital outlay, we have for like an industrial tree, brush chipper, pull behind the truck and it chips it up. This attachment that we borrowed or rented is just a big drum that mulches, and you just go up to a tree with it and put the bucket down as fast as you can. It just chips it to nothing. So.
Okay. So they were two different ones anyways?
Yep.
Okay.
So, Andrew, you talked about this, basically this one and the Bobcat being kind of combined for what you're spending capital-wise?
Yeah,
Okay.
we were hoping to get it taken out of the same capital outlay line item.
Okay. So does that line item cover both? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, so if you look on the next page for the toolcat, we have budgeted 61,000, and with trade-in value, we'd only be spending 36,000 for a new toolcat. So.
All right. Any more questions? Look for motion to approve the purchase of the grappling attachment.
All motion.
I'll second.
Any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, looks like you're up again for the Bobcat.
Yeah. So attached, you'll see a quote for a new toolcat. With not having a payloader previously, we used our toolcat that we have now for a lot more than we should have probably. Just because it's easy, it's versatile, you get there quick. Our skid loader is a one-speed, turtle mode. So it has a lot of wear and tear. We have a decent amount of hours. I can't remember exactly how many, but I think it's over 2,000 hours on it. And, it's showing its wear and, rust and all that from winter use. And so right now, it's still worth quite a bit for trade-in. They'll give us 37,000 for trade-in, which makes our buy for a new one 36,000, almost 37. So it cuts our costs in half. Talking with the Bobcat dealer, he's like, you're kind of at that point where if you keep going with it, the value just decreases that much faster. So we're kind of at a good standing point for trade-in value.
So is that kind of ahead of schedule, about on schedule for the replacement?
That's on schedule for
On
this
schedule?
year, yep.
It's on schedule?
Yep, for 2025.
How long have we had the 5,600 for?
5 years. So just to kind of put in perspective how much we use this, our skid loader is a 2014, and we have 1,700 hours on it, and we have over 2,000 hours on this, so we use it quite a bit.
Any more questions for Andrew? All right, I'd look for a motion to approve the purchase.
So moved.
Second?
Any more discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. Number 5, the resolution.
All right, Mayor and City Council, this is that new item that was added to the agenda. It essentially is a Minnesota PFA, Public Facilities Authority, drinking water state revolving loan fund application. And so we've applied for this in the past, and each cycle you have to submit a new application. So we are submitting an updated resolution with our updated application. And basically what you're doing is, by adopting this resolution this evening, you are just authorizing the city to apply to PFA for a loan from the Drinking Water Revolving Loan Fund for a water treatment improvements project. I did not put the amount in there. I know what our total project costs. It's $14 million. But it's, so that I guess I left blank, or the as-bid costs of the project. And then I'll sign it, or the mayor will sign it, and then I'll sign it, and I'll get that sent off tomorrow with our updated application. So with that, just need a motion to approve the adoption of this resolution. And again, it does not commit you to the project. It's just simply for a step in the process to make sure that we continue to have an updated application.
So Jennifer, this would be in lieu of us getting, say we got 10 million instead of the 14 million?
Yep, so
It would be-
basically
okay.
what they'll do, I've worked with this program before in other cities, so whatever you get in grant funds, but then you have to, I guess, gap finance your project, then it would be loan funds, so then you would apply for, so we're just basically making sure our project there's funds reserved for our project.
Any more questions? Look for a motion to approve. Resolution?
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
All right. We have a first and second. Any other questions, discussion? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right. We're up to the administrative reports.
We are flying through this meeting tonight. I'm sure we'll have payback. There'll be another meeting coming up that's gonna be about 3 times as long. Yes. We're due for a nice short one every now and then. No, anyways, I will go on to my report. So first item up is year-to-date expenditure and revenue report. Same format as always, you guys, if you have any questions, let me know. Next item is Highway 14 corridor study update, next steps for public input. Our Project Technical Advisory Committee, we had our 5th meeting since we got this whole study underway. We met for about an hour and a half at the end of February, and we reviewed, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different options. And this has come out of, the people that are serving on the Project Technical Advisory Committee, they call it PTAC, MnDOT, Bolton and Mank, Mankato, Maple staff. So you have a lot of people that understand traffic, highways, and engineering, and then you have me. But no, so there's just a lot of different alternatives or options that were presented, and kind of going through the analysis of pros and cons. And they are working on some updates to this, and then when it's ready for public distribution, we'll be able to send that out. There will be a public open house coming up sometime early to mid-April. And should I ask her? Early to mid-April, there'll be an open house, and I would encourage the city council to attend, our planning commission, EDA, anybody that's involved with the city to make sure that they're there, law enforcement, fire department, just to make sure that we express, support or concerns with some of the different options presented. And it spans from 12 to 60, so it's not just Eagle Lake, it's just that corridor. I just want to give you guys an update on that. I know some of you have wondered, we haven't heard a lot, what's going on. But right now, it's just kind of at that, I guess, staff level. And once we get to the open house, you know, we definitely want everybody's input. And then I have been asking about them coming to a council meeting to give an update, so that'll probably be possibly April. And then I was talking to Blue Earth County Engineer Ryan Tilgis, and he is thinking of maybe a joint work session between City Council and Blue Earth County Commissioner. So I think that would be great, and we're maybe kind of looking at that April timeframe for that. So more information to come. There is going to be a pop-up, I think, coming up in Eagle Lake that they're going to be having before the open house. The only event coming up that I could think of was Tacho Night at the Legion, so they're going to have a little table set up and hopefully catch some people. They actually were at the pancake breakfast for Tater Days by the fire hall, and they caught a lot of people and got a lot of really good feedback that, you know, about the project and the study. So that's that. More information to come on that. That 345 kV transmission line project, an opportunity for public input. I just wanted to let you know that Mayor Whittington and I have been reaching out when we've been up in St. Paul, talking to our lobbyists and other organizations. We're just reaching out, trying to find out, you know, what other cities would recommend for who to contact and make sure that we get Eagle Lake's, you know, best interest put on the record. And so more information come on that. We'll definitely make sure we're at that public meeting and have an official comment submitted on the record. And I have encouraged the EDA to attend, and also Planning Commission when we get to that point, to make sure that they're available and able to be part of the process. Item number 4, recap of Coalition of Greater Minnesota Cities Day at the Capitol and meetings with legislators. I think we had a wonderful day when we were up there. Mayor Whittington snagged us a impromptu meeting, which ended up being great, with one of the legislators that we weren't planning to meet with, and he ended up signing on to our bill. So that was wonderful. I know we have great leadership with Mayor Whittington up there. I was really impressed that day, and it went really well. And Beth was up at the Greater Mankato Growth Day at the Capitol with Mayor Whittington and I think that was a really good opportunity to be able to talk to different legislators, and just other business community leaders in the area. I think that was a really worthwhile day. Next item, open book notice. This is the annual assessments meetings that they have with Blue Earth County. So if somebody wants to challenge the valuation on their property, this is their chance coming up in April to do that. We posted notice in the newspaper. We have notice posted here at City Hall. And residents should have also gotten, or taxpayers, notice on in their communications from Blue Earth County. Number 7, solar on public buildings project and next steps. I think you guys probably remember it wasn't too long ago when we had Sabri from Region 9 and some other folks talk to us about solar and public buildings and whether or not it's a good fit or not. So I did work with Sabri, and we submitted our applications for like the first step in the process, and we were approved to submit a full application. So the next step is to do like an RFP for if we were to do solar at Public Works or City Hall. Doesn't mean we're committing to anything, but we would just have to put together an RFP and then find out, you know, what it would cost, what it would entail to put solar on our buildings, and then include that with our full application. So no commitment at this point, but you know, if we want to keep the process going, I would just need to work on the RFP stuff next. And so wanted to bring that to you before I go and do that, so that you guys, you know, I have your blessing to be able to keep moving through the process, but knowing that it does not commit the city to anything. So if anybody has any concerns or objections, just let me know. But that's, we're kind of a tight time frame because the full application is due in May, so not a lot of time to work with here. Let's see, pedestrian connectivity, federal grant award and next steps. We kind of talked about this already with the topo survey. But basically, just kind of working through any paperwork that we need with DOT, Blue Earth County, and working on our local grant to try to help offset the city's local share. Number 9, electric vehicle grant award and next steps. That was part of that carbon reduction funding program. So we were awarded money for that, and it's a newer process, so it's a little bit complicated. I know Public Works Director Andrew's been asking me multiple times, like, when are we gonna get that? When are we gonna get our money it's a electric utility vehicle that, the Public Works Department would be able to use instead of a truck driving around to empty the dog pots and go around the park, just more efficient. So we've been awarded that, but to actually get access to the money is quite a process. So I'm actually working with Mark Manderfeld with Blue Earth County because the county was approved for an electric vehicle grant award as well, and they've never been through the process because there really aren't, it's a new process, so there aren't like templates out there on all this stuff. It's just a little involved. That's why sometimes we don't always apply for grants, even though they're out there, because it's a lot of work, especially when it's federal money. So that, I just want to let you know that we're working with them on getting paperwork that we need to get approved and bring it back to the council. So it's still there. We still have the money. Just got to figure out a way to get all the stuff submitted so we can access it. And then number 10, stormwater and community resilience open house. That is tomorrow from 4:30 to 6:30 here at City Hall. Hopefully we'll get some people from the community to stop by and provide some input and, be a worthwhile project. So. And then I wanted to let you guys know, I had told you at the last meeting I was going to have the personnel policy updates on this agenda, but just due to work schedules and such, I didn't get that done. So hopefully by the April meeting, that's my goal. Been working with the COG on a draft, and I'm just going through and editing it. And then next needs to go to the Personnel Committee, which is Mayor Whittington and Councilmember Rorich. And then after that, we would bring it to the City Council. And then number 12 on my report is the full-time leave accrual and use summary report. I'm just going to try to get in a better habit of making sure I get that on every council meeting agenda. Obviously, there's usually 2 payrolls a month, but this will just kind of give you an idea of employee leave. And then one other item that's not on my memo, but I want to talk about, it kind of relates to the items 11 and 12 that were on the consent agenda. There were some utility bill reimbursements. Without going into too much detail, but just I kind of wanted to give you a heads up. So our new administrative clerk is doing a phenomenal job. She's really going through and just kind of trying to clean up stuff in the system. And so we had a couple unique situations where, we discovered there was some adjustments that need to be made. And so she's been going through and creating reports and basically checking to make sure everything, like for residential, for commercial, everything is set up. And so we have just kind of, it's been really interesting, discovered some properties that have never been charged garbage and recycling for whatever reason. Have never said anything to the city. So we, she's going in and trying to get those corrected. So we're gonna have to let these residents know that, hey, on your next utility bill, you are gonna be charged garbage and recycling, or another one is stormwater. For whatever reason, a couple of properties have never been charged stormwater. So we may get some pushback, but I think legally the city can go back 3 years. I'm not proposing that the city go back because the city made the error and people have budgets. And that's not my decision. Well, I'll bring all of this to you in April. But at this point, I think we just make sure we get the corrections in the system. And, but yeah, so like I said, she's doing a great job. She's going through being very thorough, trying to create different reports and trying to think of all different scenarios on, what could we possibly be missing, because it's important we get things corrected and in the system. So I just want to give you a heads up on that. There may be some people that we, will have to send letters to and let them know that they'll see some charges on their bill they're not used to, but they should have been charged all along. So, and it's not like a huge amount, but it's, a handful. So, other than that, I think that's all lastly, I guess I do have one other thing. So the Lions Club was contacted by a circus to come to town, and they actually have like real live lions and I think tigers and things like that. I don't know if they have elephants, but the Lions Club has a meeting tomorrow night, and so they're going to be talking about tomorrow, and that's why I want to bring it up tonight. It wasn't on the agenda, but I got a call from the circus today, and then I passed it on to the Lions Club, and I think I I couldn't, sorry. And so, so it's kind of coming up quick, but apparently there's only 2 dates open, and it's kind of a rare thing that they're gonna be in our area, because the place they're normally at, they're not gonna be at this year, so, they, are, wondering about Eagle Lake, and so we're just kind of, the Lions Club is gonna talk about it tomorrow, but they, of course, reached out to me asking about water capacity, you know, just space, and then, so that's why I need to talk to, law enforcement and Public Works and Fire Department because of public safety concerns, and if you guys have any ideas on, you know, locations that might be a good fit, I think it would be really fun for the community to have something like that, but of course, there just is not a good spot with parking. So I'd be open to any ideas, but ultimately, it's gonna have to come back to the council, because I'm assuming it's gonna be on public property, so I wanted to give you a heads up that, you know, the Lions Club would then come back and wanna get permission, so. And they said there's really no, you know, there wouldn't be labor by city staff or the Lions Club. It would be, you know, the Lions Club would be responsible for selling tickets in advance, and, they claim in their brochure that they leave, okay, I'm getting a lot of skeptical looks here, that everything looks just the way it was before they came in, so I don't know.
So everything gets picked up?
That's what it says, and it's a one-day thing, so it's not an overnight thing, so they come in like 10 in the morning if there's a show at 2 set up, and then, you know, they're gone, by that night, but it'd be kind of neat for Eagle Lake. I feel like it'd be fun to have something like that. What do you guys think, just to kind of feel you guys out right now? I mean, if someone is strongly opposed to it, I should let the Lions Club know right now before their meeting tomorrow, but.
I think it'd be fun. How big of a circus are we talking here? Like
So it's like
giant tents and everything?
Yes, like 300 by 300. Anthony and I were talking about that before the meeting. I think that's what the brochure said. Let me look. Is it 300 by, I mean, it's big. It's a big top. So, I don't know.
All
if we
joking
can-
aside, like, I know when you hear circus, we start laughing, but Garrett and I both, like, right when I got the email, it went back to my childhood. Like, we had a circus here when I was young and still remember it, so,
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
as funny as it seems when you say it, it's one of those things that is, or can be, that once in a lifetime for some of these kids that we don't have it here all the time.
Cool.
It's just, where?
Is it something that could go like in that area by the school where the playground is, that asphalt area?
I mentioned that to the Lions Club. We'd have to talk to the school, but I was worried that'd be a possibility too. Yeah, it might be. But, actually I should pull up. I wonder, I don't have the screen on, because I turned that thing off. I can send you guys a picture. They sent, a drawing showing of another community where they were at, and they got a lot of trucks and stuff that they, it looks, I mean, that's kind of what it looks like. That's a big area though. Well, yeah, I was wondering about this. Should I try to pull this up on the screen for you guys to see? Sure. Or no, we got a little time, we can plan, we can help the Lions Club out here. Thank you, Carrie.
In the past, though, they have said that city staff has to be part of the circus, so.
I thought it was the sheriff's staff.
Andrew's like, vacation day that day.
I think it's just new councilmen.
Where was it whenever you guys were?
Like, right kind of where we are. So it was more, like, the townhomes weren't in
Oh, yeah.
or anything, so it was like between, I can't remember if the church was in at the time or if it was from the church to the gas station, but it was like right there before Linda went through, because Linda wasn't through at that time. But just like, especially the little kids, like going up and seeing this massive circus.
My kids would
you know,
love that.
yeah.
They'd be all about
So I
it.
don't think it's effort gone unneeded, but it's just, where do you put it? I was wondering if there was any open development lots that were big enough and flat enough.
Is this area just
I don't
south
know
of
whether
here?
it's Fox Meadows, or if, what is it, the ones over here? KJ Walk ones?
KJ Walks, yeah.
Is right here big enough, just south of this building? There's like open
No, I
grass,
think
No,
it needs to
yeah.
be significantly bigger than
much
that.
bigger than this.
Because that's a football field by football field.
And I also told Jennifer, like, can we ask Legion and shut down the parking lots and stuff? Because then you have a lot of roads leading up to that for side parking. 'Cause that's gonna be the other thing, is the Lions Club will have to figure out somewhat parking, maybe having some buses or things running to get people to and from, but also knowing that 600 people is a lot of people, but it's not when you think one family could be 5 tickets right away.
I think we'd sell those tickets pretty quick here.
Wouldn't just be us.
No,
Sorry, guys, I'm forgetting how to do this
I think once you get it out, they'll go pretty quick.
We took
I
our
say
kids to circuses when they were little, they had a great time.
Right.
Are we technically challenged?
Oh, here it is.
We could put it in Mitch's nice new outfield. I don't mind.
He'd love that.
Okay. Oh, that'd be cool. Okay. That would be neat. Okay, we'll get this. Save. I can't spell. That's.
That's a lot of folders.
Oh, here. Yeah, so this is a picture they had, but that, because I initially thought, well, what about the softball field? I said you absolutely couldn't touch the baseball field, but, I mean, do you think that would even fit in the softball field area? That's when I looked at all those trucks.
Do we have any development lots that
I don't think we
are
have,
big enough for that?
I don't think so.
Not that are graded and
Yeah.
the size of that, I think would fit on that
Thing at the school.
that asphalt area of the school as a playground, and then, you know, if anything, they could have their vehicles on the backside and the ball field there.
It'd be better from probably
Parking and.
a public safety perspective too than the park, wouldn't it possibly, if it was at the school, or not necessarily?
Do they need to have all of their campers right on site though too?
Oh,
I feel like
probably
that
not,
seems-
that,
If they're in and out one day, that seems like, that wouldn't be bad.
say that again. Gary. Oh, I don't think so. Do you think so? So?
Could it, and just hear me out on this, but could it fit on Parkway? You know, by the water tower area, you block the road down, they have to go on Luray around, you know, we just block Parkway out for a day? I mean, this type of event, I'm sorry, but it would kind of
Yeah,
warrant
it'd be kind
that.
of fun.
Would it fit on Parkway, and would it be a reasonable request to block that road off for,
Do you think they
Is
would
it
do
still
that?
too skinny?
Do you think- If they do it for Tater Days, why would they do that? That's funny, Councilmember Steinberg was just saying the same thing, I don't think you could hear
I
it.
couldn't hear him,
But
no.
he said the same thing, and I was looking at him, because I wasn't visualizing the,
Size.
this, roadway.
I think the school would be the best option.
School
You know,
or
down-
Parkway,
Down in like the softball, baseball area, that'd be very congested.
yeah. And trying to get those trucks down there would be,
I just know enough from when I work as a custodian there.
yeah.
They're gatekeepers. You never
Well-
know. There's a liability too.
Yeah, and they do, on their brochure, they talked about in liability stuff, and I said, well, we'd have to check with our insurance to make sure that's even, you know, meets what our coverage requirements would be.
I think it'd be worth the ask at least,
Okay,
I
or at
think
least
so.
throw out some of those options and figure out if it's big enough.
Sounds like the Lions Club's problem.
Yep. Sounds like they need a tape measure and.
Yep.
it's too bad it couldn't have happened, you know, because National Night Out is that following Tuesday, right? Yeah, Tuesday. And Tater Days is just a couple weeks before that, it's just kind of too bad, but it's a separate thing though, too. I mean, you wouldn't have a circus at,
But this is gonna bring in people not just Eagle Lake.
Oh, yeah.
This is gonna,
That'd be cool.
it's not the Memorial Weekend Carnival, you know, it's totally different that
yeah.
you don't have every year.
So I'll just pass along to the Lions Club that, there's excitement and willingness to work together here, but there's a lot of moving parts we'd have to get with law enforcement, the county, highway department, public works. What about, water wouldn't be an issue up there. Then, we got hydrants.
What about the church across the street, or across the highway?
I thought about that earlier today too. I don't know. That might be, but water, they would
Parking
have.
would be kinda, if you had to do it in their parking lot, I don't know how much green space they have, cause if you, they don't.
Would you have to get it? Yeah, I was saying water, we'd have to get water out there too. Okay, well, there's some options. Sorry to take up time, but with the short turnaround time, I thought I would, thank you for the good ideas. This is great. So we'll let them know and keep you posted. Thank you. That's all I have for.
Very sure. Okay. Council member reports.
What's it? I know.
Anybody got anything to add?
I have nothing.
Just
Anthony?
for, Summer Sounds, we've had a couple of meetings now, or one. So that's going pretty good. We got some good bands, I think, this year for a good lineup, and we get the shirts made and all that stuff, so.
All right.
Got nothing.
Gary, Summer Sounds,
Yeah.
going well?
Going well.
Shirts coming?
They
Perfect. All right, upcoming the next city council, April 7th, right here, same bat time, same bat channel. EDA on the 27th at 6:45. We got the park board on March 13th at 6:45 as well, and the planning commission meets on the 17th, St. Patty's Day. That's bad planning. So I would look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.